Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell in the upper right-hand corner. Follow me on all forms of social media. Check me out at thatdrummerguy.com and enjoy the following presentation.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Hello, Josh. Yeah, everything is good. Talking. Answer the same questions again and again and again and again.
Well, hopefully I can break up that monotony a little bit, and I appreciate you taking the time to be able to talk to me about everything going on in the world of Primal Fear right now.
Yes, I'm here for that.
Oh, awesome. Well, of course, and speaking of that, the brand new album from Primal Fear, Apocalypse, is going to be coming out the 10th of August through Frontiers Music. How does it feel to finally be able to have this album coming out in a couple weeks?
Well, if you're working for nearly a year on the details and little steps by step for a new album, you are totally excited about the release, what the media thinks, what the fans finally think about the album, and if they like it. And it's a real nice time. It's like a baby, a newborn baby.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it too. I mean, every time, you get all this preparation that's going in there for it. I mean, you craft so much time and effort into creating these songs, and every time you get a very you always wonder how it's going to be received by everybody else as well. But it's just like, from checking out this album as much as I have since I got it, I love where you guys are at right now in 2018. I love the way it starts off with you feeling so grandiose and just getting into one of the fastest Primal Fear songs I've heard in quite some time. And then once you go on throughout the rest of the album, it's just like, it's such great classic Primal Fear moments while exploring some new territory as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. What can I say? It's for us. It was a really nice process to create the album, because the last album was very well reviewed. We toured the whole world. We had a lot of inspirations, and it was really, the focus was what does our fans want to hear from us? And with that view and formula, we were going into the studio. Wrote songs first, made a pre-production, had a lot of ideas. I think it was around 25 ideas, skipped down to 14, going into the details, arrangements, sounds, and whatever, made a nice pre-production before we started to track the drums. And it was very clear in the beginning that we have a bunch of really, really good songs. And the most important thing is to transport the power of the band into the recording studio, that the band sounds in the studio as powerful as on stage. And this is always a tricky thing, but I think we matched it very well.
Yeah, I can definitely say that with this album as well. I mean, having been able to have the honor to be able to see you guys a couple times, I really feel that power with this album. I mean, just from all the different sides of what Primal Fear is about, I definitely get that live, real, powerful experience from this album.
Thank you. So that was one of the focus we had. So starting with the drums, we really put some money on it, rented a really huge drum room and studio to record the drums, because the drums is the foundation of the whole other recordings. And if the drums is weak, you can have the best guitars, it doesn't matter anymore. So we have first focus on the drums, and I think in the end it was worth it.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and as a drummer myself, I really do appreciate that you did put so much time and effort into making sure that the drums could sound as good as it possibly can, because it really does make the rest of the album feel as good as it should be.
Yeah, that's the point.
So, with that as well, I mean, obviously with you getting some more production going on with Primal Fear on this album, what is it like for you after all this time being able to have that production skill to be able to work on your own band in the studio?
Well, I think the whole 20 years of Primal Fear and producing this band and writing for this band is always a learning process. Every album is a new challenge. Every album should be diverse and going not always into the same kind of formula and strategy. So it depends on the song material, what you can do there. And for us this time, it was very important to come up with some new sounds in our formula. So we used on some tracks 10 different guitar sounds, mixed it together, and fooled around with the little details, arrangements, and added new ideas and sounds to make this album really the most interesting we can at the moment, and still to present Primal Fear as they are in the year 2018. Yeah, and on the other side, it was really important that we can play the songs also in the rehearsal room or on a stage, that we can present the band like it is, and not just doing an album with songs we can't play on stage, which is very important for me.
Yeah, and I also really appreciate that from the fan perspective as well, because you never know when there's going to be a song that I really love from a band and I want to be able to hear that song live, and then you find out that the band actually can't play that song live for one reason or another. So I do appreciate the fact that you actually do that, where you make sure that every song that you record is something that can be played live.
Yeah, that's very important. Even if it's songs which are our epic tracks, for example, in the past we played a lot, like One Night in December. On the new album we have The Eye of the Storm, which is a more than 8-minute track with different atmospheres, with different grooves, with different tempos. So but in the end we can play that song on stage, and this is the very important thing, and I think very important key also, that we can put the power into the recording studio.
Yeah, and that's another great thing to be able to think about too when more of the live shows come out to be able to promote Apocalypse, is the fact that you do have 11 new tracks now that you are able to add into the set list.
Yeah, we have to. This is anyway. The next tour will be our 20th anniversary tour. So we have to mix the past with the future, and I think we will have a very special set list this time with songs we didn't play for a long time, or we never played. On the other hand, we have our classic tracks that people want to hear from us. And then we have the new album, and so we have to play some tracks of the new album, which are looking out for. We already had one song played during the last open air festivals we're doing at the moment in Europe, and that was the Hounds of Justice. And the Hounds of Justice was like a bomb for us. It's always exciting if you play a new song and you haven't played that song before, but it worked out really, really, really good. So we are all very happy about how we performed that songs on the last couple of shows.
Oh, and I'm glad to hear that too. I mean, sometimes it can be a scary experience when you're premiering a song before people actually have a chance to be able to check it out in recorded form. So I'm glad to see that people enjoyed that song, and that is one of my favorite songs off the album. So I'm glad to see it did get the reception it deserved.
Yeah, very, very, very good, I say, and the band sounds really, really powerful, and it worked out very well.
So, with that as well, like going back a little bit, I mean, with the fact that you have been producing the band, and of course, with Apocalypse, you've been producing the band. What is that like for yourself, being able to produce your own playing and what you do with the band?
Well, I'm very routine, so I had parts in my career where I worked with very, very well-known producers, and I was not happy. So I have to do something. So what can I do? Find somebody who I'm happy with, or learning all that stuff from point zero that I can do it by my own. So, and I've started to produce our own albums. That was around 20 years ago, and with the success of Primal Fear, and that in the last 6 years, I say, the album, we got more and more a unit as a band, and the following around the world was getting more and more and more, and the people are very happy with our albums. So in my view, there was no need to hire an outside producer who is coming to us, producing our album, and then going to the next band. And I will stay there. And this is the big difference. If I'm doing a mistake, I can kick my own ass. If other guy is doing a mistake which hurts the career of the band and the fans doesn't like it so much, well, he's going to the next band and producing the next album. So for me, it was a kind of decision to do this because I want to be responsible for the next steps of the band.
And that is such a great thing to hear that too. I mean, it really does show how much faith that you do have in this band, and you want to make sure that you can push it as much as you possibly can. So when you are able to take the reins like that and not just worry about the songwriting and the way the sounds are going to be from your own instrument, of course, playing bass and doing vocals, but you want to make sure that everyone is going to sound as good as possibly can be.
Yeah, that's my job, and there was no hate on that production. There was no arguing or discussions on that production. Everybody in the band was really focused and performed really, really well, and I have only respect and give compliments to my bandmates.
Yeah, and it's so great to hear that too. I mean, especially with going back into Apocalypse, it feels like everyone is just so on board with what's going on right now. I mean, I can tell the musicianship and the way that the band is going in right now is just top notch between what's going on there, and just being able to hear the album and hear everyone so excitedly playing on the album. I can't wait for those live shows to happen in promotion.
Yeah, me too. But we already play live, and I know that the band is in a fantastic shape, and every show we do at the moment is really exciting, and it's a great unit. The band, everybody likes each other, and we're going to have a good time on every show.
So, getting back a little bit more into the album, of course, the album is called Apocalypse, coming out the 10th of August through Frontiers Music. Where did the idea come from to call it Apocalypse?
Well, as I said, we toured the last 6 years everywhere in the world and could make our own picture what is going on. And I think so during the recordings of the album and the writing of the album, so it was just getting worse with all that rude language, that presidents who are having such a big ego instead of making politics for their nation, and it is a very dangerous time at the moment. So in my view, it was not the right moment to write 11 love songs.
Yeah, that is a very good point. And the more that I do listen to the album and the more I do hear those lyrics, I mean, it really does reflect on what's going on right now. And it's great to be able to see the Primal Fear approach to what's going on right now. Even though it is a dark, scary time, at least there's a good soundtrack that's going on behind it with Primal Fear.
Yeah, we try just to raise our finger and said, people were living on such a nice planet. We could have such a nice life with each other. We have so much possibilities for our free time to have some joy, to go to sports, to have some nice concerts and whatever. And what we're gonna do is we're destroying everything. And this is not nice. It's not a good time. So and we try to tell our stories about that, and some people will like it, some people will not like it, but at least we're doing something and not just making blah 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 and writing some stuff which is telling you nothing.
Yeah, and that is important. I mean, especially if you have that want and drive to do it, to be able to just go out there and be able to tell your story, your thoughts, your views, and it's great to be able to see that throughout the album.
Yeah, that's the point behind the lyrics on that album.
And along with that as well, I mean, I really love the album cover that's going along with it too. I mean, I love the use of the very vivid colors that's going along with it too, even though it does have that very apocalyptic feel to it. It looks beautiful to look at.
Yeah, I think an album cover is still a very important a factor in the whole package. Yeah, like you have the album cover, you make pictures, you have the lyrics, and you have the music. And that's why I'm not a big friend of just this having a flat rate with a streaming portal and just listening to the music. I think so. Everything, the whole package, is very important. And why do we spend much time in creating a great album cover and pictures and all that stuff if you just listen to the music and don't give a shit on the rest? So I think if you have the vinyl version in your hand and see that big picture of the album cover, you realize how much work it is to create this piece of art, and I really love it, and I appreciate it, and I will still work on extreme album artwork covers for the future, even it is getting rare and rare and rare.
And that's what's helping you stand out as well, because there are a lot of bands that do take everything else and put that in the back seat, where they're just focusing more on writing the best possible single, whereas a band like Primal Fear is making sure that the whole package of the whole album is very important. I mean, be it the liner notes, be it the album cover, be it the production quality. I mean, you're making sure everything is as top as it can possibly be, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much. And it really is a very important factor that the whole packaging should work and give the people a really good value for the money they put in Primal Fear. And I think we will exactly continue in this in the future, and not say, okay, we put just a band picture on the cover because nobody is buying a CD anymore. This would be very wrong.
Yeah, and this makes me want to go out. I mean, if I didn't already want to go out and pick up the vinyl version of it, because it just looks so beautiful, and I want to be able to have that in my hands and be able to look at all of it, be it through the liner notes and look at all the major details that are going on with the artwork, and I'm assuming the back artwork as well, you know, just making sure and checking out the entire complete setup.
Yeah, that's what I want to say. It's like this belongs to the album, to the new album, as much as the music.
Yeah, that is just so very important. And with that as well, I mean, obviously, with a new album coming out, you want to make sure that you have the proper singles to be able to show people. How hard was it to decide what songs were going to be shown off before the album came out?
That's mainly a decision by the band, and the record company was very cooperative on that thing. So we thought we should start the bus with Hounds of Justice, if I understand you right, yeah?
Yes.
And then we did the first regular video for King of Madness, and the second video will come out on August 3. It will be The Ritual. So these three songs were chosen by the band that we want to represent the album in that way.
Yeah, and I really love the song selection that you did for it, because all three of those songs really show off different sides of what's going on this album, but they all make make a lot of sense to be able to show them off.
Thank you.
Oh, of course.
That's cool, yeah. So we did something right.
Yeah, and you know, it's a great representation of what's going on there too, and it makes me excited for when you come back to North America and I'm able to hear these songs live. Hopefully, with all that happening with this 20th anniversary tour, you know, just being able to see, you know, from the very beginning to what's going on now with Apocalypse. I mean, it's great to see the career that Primal Fear has had, and it's great to see that you will be going out and doing that representation of what the band was all about over all these years.
Yeah, and I think the 20th anniversary is also for us. It's a very important year, and it's great that the three guys who started the band are still in this band, which is very rare in these days. That people coming and going, and it's always with bands not that easy. And I really appreciate, for example, U2, that U2 can have the same lineup since they started, but with Primal Fear, the three guys who started the band are still in the band, and this is great.
Yeah, and that really shows that this band was meant to be the way that it's turned out to be as well. I mean, the fact that all three of you were able to still be together after all this time, when there are so many bands that do either fall apart completely, or one person just keeps on the moniker and they just keep having session musicians the whole time, or whatever the case is. I'm glad to see that friendship and business relationship for Primal Fear is as strong as ever.
Yeah, I think the key for that is that we can still play the music we like, and we still love that kind of music. I think this is the key why this is still working.
Yeah, and that musical chemistry is such an important thing as well, because you want to be able to make sure that you're writing and playing music with people that you're going to be able to enjoy writing and playing music with, be it in the studio or in a live setting. And it's great to see, you know, despite there being some lineup changes, that you know, like the core of the band is still going strong.
Yeah, that's a very nice thing, and I really appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. So with that, again, you know, it's just like, it's such a great, exciting time for what's going on here with Primal Fear. Of course, talking about the brand new album Apocalypse coming out the 10th of August through Frontiers Music, and of course with the 20th anniversary tour, obviously getting some shows in already, but being able to focus on it even more once the album comes out. Do you have anything else that's going to be going on personally, or as far as any side things outside of Primal Fear coming up?
I'm doing yearly a tour in mainly in Germany and in Europe, called Rock Meets Classic, where I have a band, a choir, and a symphony orchestra, and stars and legends of the classic rock scene. So I'm doing this for 10 years, and so in February and March we have the 10 years anniversary of the Rock Meets Classic. That's the name of the tour. And I have some really good names lined up. I have Ian Gillan of Deep Purple. I have Kevin Cronin of REO Speedwagon, and Mike Reno of Loverboy. I have Thin Lizzy, The Sweet, and more. And it will be a great tour. We're doing this every year, around 14 to 16 shows. And this is a very important also project I'm doing every year. And so far I could realize a lot of playing together with some really well-known legends, which I highly appreciate.
Yeah, that is just incredible that you've been able to pull that out for 10 years now, and it sounds like the lineup that's going to be coming up soon. I mean, that just sounds like an incredible lineup that you've got so far.
Yeah, in the past we had, for example, people you know are Alice Cooper. We had Joey Tempest from Europe. We have Steve Lukather of Toto. We have Rick Springfield. We had Paul Rogers and a lot of more. So it is a really nice tour, which happens every year, and it's an absolutely blast on stage.
And with that, how is that for you every year when you obviously do get a different lineup that's going to be happening every year? What's that like for you to be able to go year to year like that?
It's a lot of work. It's 95 people on the road, which you can imagine: own production, own lights, own sound, own catering, buses, and this is really crazy how many people are on that tour. And it's every year it's a big challenge to realize that tour. So I think it's a really nice, diverse, different thing to Primal Fear. Also from the music kind of thing, to play with a symphony orchestra, it's a big challenge, and after that you're going back to the heavy metal thing, and you like it even more.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that's gotta be a great feeling to be able to spread your wings like that and be able to play, show off different sides of your playing. I mean, obviously with being in such an established band as Primal Fear, you know, it's nice to be able to get out there and be able to play something a little different as well every year.
Yeah, it's really nice, and you have have to say you have a big responsibility, because you play a side of Alice Cooper. It is like this is Alice Cooper. This is not a singer of a cover band. This is the real one. Or Ian Gillan of Deep Purple. You play Highway Star, and he opens his mouth, and it's Ian Gillan. Yeah, it is a very nice job, and I really appreciate. I've learned a lot of the good guys standing aside of Rick Springfield and play Jesse's Girl is really crazy. So this is a pretty nice job.
Oh, absolutely. And that just sounds incredible that you get to do that every year. You know, being able to play along with some of the greatest musicians that have ever been in classic rock, and being able to do it in a symphonic orchestra style as well. I mean, being able to combine all of these different things into one, and being able to celebrate Primal Fear, the brand new Primal Fear album, Apocalypse, and, you know, just being able to showcase all of these different sides of what you're capable of. I mean, despite it being busy, it's very exciting to be able to say that you can do all of these different things at once.
Absolutely, and it's always a new challenge, a learning process, and you have to deliver the goods. So that's the hard part of the job, is that you really have to deliver, and you have a responsibility. On the other side, it's the nicest job in the world.
And with that, I think that's a fantastic note to end on. Thank you so very much for taking the time to talk to me about not only everything going on in the world of Primal Fear, including the brand new album Apocalypse coming out the 10th of August through Frontiers Music, but being able to show off what you got going on next year with some of the greatest voices in classic rock and hard rock. That's so very awesome to see that you are able to do all of that and celebrate the 20th anniversary of Primal Fear. And thank you once again for taking the time to be able to talk to me about all of it.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Before we wrap things up, is there anything else you'd like to mention that I hadn't brought up yet?
No, I'm okay with it. So we talked about the new album, which is the most important thing. So I'm fine. And you didn't ask any stupid question or did something wrong, so everything is cool.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad to know that I'm doing my job, making sure that I can have this a good conversation for you.
You can't imagine what sometimes in a situation I am with stupid questions. So everything was cool.